Welcome back to the Talks with Toni Cole Show. You are in for a treat today. So we have Latisha with us. She is the author of The Naked Truth, motivational speaker, and survivor. Stay tuned. Latisha, thank you for being here. We had talked about doing this interview last year.
We
Finally
did.
got it on the books.
Here.
Yes, we are here,
Yes.
and you have been doing so much. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
She has accomplished so much in the short time that we have known each other. So tell us a little bit about you for those who don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. As Toni stated earlier on, I am a motivational speaker, I'm an author, and I'm a survivor.
So tell us about where the story starts for you.
Unfortunately, it starts at the age of 7. I was sexually abused by a trusted family member. My mom was married to this individual. This is her second marriage out of 3. And I can remember I would fall asleep as a girl. You know, you fall asleep with mom when it's just her and I can remember falling asleep with her. And a lot of people might ask the question, well, why did you continue to do that? And so I always say I'm 7. And so that's when it would happen. And so he would pick me up out of her bed, put me in my bed, and he would abuse me. And that went on for several years. And I was afraid to speak up and tell anyone for many different reasons. And, after I decided to speak up about it, I told a good friend of mine, and she tried to convince me to tell my mom or tell someone, and I just couldn't in that moment.
So fast forward to a couple years. I know in your book you talked about a couple different things that happened. So tell us a little bit about what happened after that.
Yeah. So after, kind of going through that piece of it, I say that my life just took a turn. And I became sexually active at a very young age, and at the age of 12. And I remember I was in the 6th grade, unfortunately. And I say it's because I was exposed to so much at a very young age. I didn't grow up in a 2-parent household. I didn't grow up with stability. And my mom was physically abused for many years. So I saw all of that happening around me. And I think that me being sexually active at such a young age was my way of escaping. It was my way of not thinking about what was happening in my household and what was happening to me, as well as my brothers. And so became sexually active. I also, unfortunately, endured and allowed myself to endure physical abuse in relationships because, again, I just thought that was normal. I thought love meant you questioning where I was. I thought love meant you putting your hands on me. I thought love meant you yelling at me because I didn't know anything different. And I dealt with that for several years coming into my even adulthood. And, I'm embarrassed to say, but I also turned abusive toward exes. And I was the individual that began to put my hands on people. And I did that, no excuses, but I feel like I did that because, again, I didn't know any different. And I was, I'm going to do this to you before you do that to me. And I hid that for a very long time. And it's just, it was the way I protected myself, I'll say. And after dealing with that, I decided to pick up the courage and seek counseling, get some help for myself. I, many years later, found out that I had been also battling alopecia and some various health challenges. And I used to tell myself, man, this is karma. This is happening to me because of what I did to others, right? But it took me a while to realize that it wasn't. It was just the things that happened to me. It made me stronger. Me going through all of those things, it was just God's way of saying, I'm going to give you the strength and the courage to at some point be the vessel for someone else. And that's what I began to really stand upon.
Right.
And so after deciding to just go hairless, it's freeing. And it's It's different for me, but it's a good difference. And so that's a little bit of my journey.
Man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Okay, so let's go back to therapy.
Okay.
More specifically, what changed in your mindset for you to say, you know what, I want to get help?
You know, if I'm being honest with you and myself, when I started the therapy, it wasn't because of the sexual abuse. It was me being the abuser. And I decided to go through that because I felt like, now the sexual, all of that came into play, of course, but I started because I didn't want to become the person that I grew up around. I didn't want to continue to go through this cycle and to continue to believe that it was okay for me to do that. I had to at some point understand that not everyone was out to hurt me. And so I wanted to make sure that I sought some counseling so that I could really have someone from the outside dig deep, ask me those questions that I was always afraid to answer. Now, I didn't finish counseling. Again, it was me. It was a struggle because I felt like I have someone that doesn't know me, know my character. You're digging deep. You're asking all of these questions. Right. And I was like, I can deal with this on my own.
Yeah.
And so I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
And then years later, I decided to do something different with my life. And that was me just speaking out, owning my truth, and really sharing my story. And that's been really therapeutic as well.
So describe the moment you said, I'm going to start sharing.
Whew. You know, that moment was me sitting in a parking lot in Walgreens. And I'll never forget. I called a very good friend of mine. And I have good friends. Nobody knew what I was dealing with.
Wow.
Nobody knew these demons that I had been dealing with my life. And I remember calling her and I said, let me tell you what happened. And I just started to ramble. And I remember her saying, hold up, wait a minute. And I said, I need to find him. I want to write him a letter. I want to ask him why. I want to know why he took my childhood away. And she asked me one question that no one asked me in the past. And that was, what resolve is that going to bring you? What's that going to do? And in that moment,
wow.
Right. In that moment, I said, I need to turn this into something different. Mm-hmm. And I decided to, at that point, start doing something different. And I started looking at various organizations where I can start volunteering, began to lightly share my story, and just start encouraging other people. And I've always been the person that I've enjoyed talking to others. Yeah. Come to me with your issues and your problems, and I want to figure out how we can get past, how I can help you get past some of this.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. Okay. So what was it like the first time you shared your story? And then what was it like the 5th time you shared your story? And then what does that feel like now?
I'm always still nervous, right? I always say every time you share your story, you give a piece of yourself, right? I think I still get a little nervous because it's still my story, and people are. You always worry about people judging you and wondering. I always ask myself the question: is this helping someone? Is it encouraging someone to do different? Is it going to allow you to step out of the situation that you're in that is not helpful to you and do something different with your life? And see, someone said, and it's been probably only 2 weeks, someone said something. And when they said it, I was just like, wow. And the comment they said was, when you haven't had best, you settle for better. To me, that meant, well, he didn't choke you this time. He only talked down to you.
Man.
I was like, wow, I'm good now. You know, I'm good because he didn't do all the things that he used to do or all the things that he used to say. And I thought that was okay, but guess what? It's not. Mm-hmm. And so when that comment was made, it was just, it to me gave me that sign of, I'm in a good place now. I'm in a good space. And so when you ask, wow, how do you feel? It feels great to be able to share my story and tell my truth.
Right. How do you want to impact the next generation?
I want them to know that It's okay to speak up and speak out. It's okay to say when you're uncomfortable. It's okay to, everyone's not going to, live your same truth or be in the same moment that you're in. Everyone's story won't be the same, but someone has gone through something similar. So be okay with gravitating toward to that individual to say, I just need help. I just need someone to talk to. And I think more importantly is know who has your best interests, right? Know who is going to be there for you for what's good, right? And so sometimes we struggle with, well, I just want to surround myself around people. Doesn't have to be positive people.
Yes.
But as long as I surround myself around people, no, I need you to be really intentional about who you surround yourself with.
Okay, so we started sharing your story, right? And you feel great about it. How did you decide that a book was next?
I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. And while I talk about my struggles and while I talk about what I've encountered, I've dealt with insecurity. I've dealt with, like I said, the abuse and the sexual abuse. But I've also dealt with keeping quiet and not wanting anyone to know this side. See, I had to maintain this professional image. And I have to show them, and I have to continue to show them, not as 3 and 5-year-olds, but even as girls, that it's okay to speak up. It's okay to say, this doesn't feel good or right. This doesn't look good or right. And I want them to know that strength doesn't just come in this form of, well, if I don't say anything, then I'm strong. If I don't cry, I'm strong.
Right.
You can shed tears. You can say, Mommy, I don't feel well today. You can say, this doesn't feel good to me. Somebody did X, Y, and Z. But knowing that to me exemplifies strength. And so I had to show them really what courage looked like and what speaking up and out really meant.
What advice do you have for people watching?
My biggest advice is love yourself and embrace yourself. There were many times that I didn't love me. There were many times that I questioned my worth. And so love yourself first and foremost.
Yeah.
And be very comfortable with challenging various things that might not feel right or good. Don't feel like you have to settle for, I'm afraid to say something. So, I'm just going to deal with it in this moment.
That's powerful in and of itself. Even how you saying strength is not just being quiet. It's knowing when to speak up. How can we learn more about what you're doing, and where can we go to buy your book?
Absolutely. You can visit my website at Latisha B Russell /shop. Naked Truth, From Pain to Triumph, and all social media handles are Latisha B Russell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the show. We
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for watching. So again, it's so important to love yourself, know your worth, and know that strength is more than just staying silent. It's speaking up. So again, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I appreciate you for taking the time to support this channel. I want you to feel free to know that who you are is more than enough. When you tune into this channel and you watch these videos, I want you to be reminded that you are amazing, and you are on a beautiful journey to becoming a better version of yourself. So don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more videos